Hello, it is Saturday, March 9th, 2024. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Saturday crossword, so we're going to be solving a tricky crossword, the second of two themeless puzzles, maybe the most challenging crossword of the week. I did find yesterday's pretty tricky. It seems many of you did as well. In fact, it seems many of you found even the same half of the puzzle tricky, as was the case in my solve. Today's maybe the whole grid will be challenging. I don't know. Let's find out. In any case, this potentially whole grid challenge has been brought to us by Michael, Aaron Spiller, the Lake House Bros, and as always, the indomitable Showmaster. So thank you so much to the four of them. They're benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, so they support this channel by keeping this series going with their contributions. I really do appreciate that. If you'd like to support this channel like those four and like all the rest of the patrons, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve or click the description field link. You'll find there all of the bonus videos available to patrons. That includes the mini puzzle pseudo speed solve from yesterday, mixed bag of times in terms of how quickly I solved those, and the most recent Boss Words Themeless League competition puzzle, so check that out as well. And what else? There is also, of course, the official mug for benefactors. Thanks to everybody who does back the Patreon campaign. Thanks as well if you subscribe on YouTube to the channel, if you like the videos, comment from time to time. And finally, there's the Daily Solve Discord chat server you can join, which is a nice, friendly chat community. Do check it out. All right, with that all said, let's get on to today's crossword, which has been constructed by John Gutzetta, who's constructed a few dozen puzzles for the New York Times, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. Let's start solving, see how we get on with this one. They often come in shoe boxes. Well, I assume it won't be shoes, but I don't know. I don't know offhand what would often come in shoe boxes. Key could be something's key to an issue. It's sort of core to it, maybe, or it's... I can't think of any other good examples. I'm sure there are. Spanish, oh no, well this, okay, well it won't be that, because Spanish diminutive would be ita, probably. Could be ito as well, though, actually. Depends if it's feminine or masculine. Let's see. Well, it'll be this regardless. So what about this? Key. Sorry if that noise is coming through. I hope it's not. There's some kind of machinery going on next door. Widespread rumors in a portmanteau. I'm not sure about that either. Portmanteau, I wonder how common this word will be. You never know with portmanteaus if they're ordinary words that are part of the kind of idiomatic speech in English, or if they're things that you feel might have just arisen, yesterday, essentially. And you just kind of have to infer them in a punny sort of way. Anyway, it's handled at a bar. It's handled at a bar. Tab, or it's handled. Oh, a stein, a beer stein. It literally has a handle, glass. I guess it doesn't need to be glass, but a big mug for beer with a big handle on it. There we go. Good. That's helpful. Trickster. Sly fox, maybe? Let's just try it. I'm not certain that's right, but let's give it a shot because it does fit. Like the second movement of Dvorak's New World Symphony. Oh, it's Largo. Yeah. In fact, I think this is one of those pieces that might even be particularly associated with its tempo marking in that way. So, I think when you say Largo, I think to a lot of people, this might even be the first piece of music they think of. It's even though it doesn't have any unique claim to that word. And Largo just means slow. It means a slow tempo. I think this might be right. That's good. That makes me think Sly Fox is all the more likely. Can we use these new crosses? Pay for a crime, say. To pay for a crime is to sort of pay restitution, to not reimburse, to what? How do you pay for a crime? You atone, you serve a sentence, you serve, that would fit with the ER, serve time, you serve time in prison. I think that's probably right. With that E and R, it seems likely. Oh, come on. Can't you take a joke? Big deal. Big right. What about this again? Key is an aisle, so it's geographical. I hadn't that meaning of key hadn't even occurred to me. So there we go. Good. Those crosses were helpful. Oh, lighten up then. As come on, can't you take a joke? There we go. There we go. That made all the difference. Biblical figures said to have died at the age of 905. Enos is a biblical figure. I wouldn't have remembered he particularly died at that age, but I think that's certainly the answer. And here we have VHS tape, video cassette tape. Yeah, it's that. Okay, not sit still. To not sit still is to fidget. Oh, it's not Sly Fox, it's Sly Dog. Right, oops. There we go. Okay, well, fair enough. Same basic idea. All right, I think of foxes as being particularly sly, but it is true that Sly Dog is a phrase that you sometimes hear. Okay, Tony Stark or Jack Sparrow feature. So Tony Stark is Iron Man, and Jack Sparrow is the pirate from Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know, what would a feature of theirs be? I guess it could be feature as in feature film. It probably isn't, but it could be. Oh, do they both have goatees, maybe? That would fit in here. I can't even picture that in my head, but I think it must be the case. And then what about this? Silences are gaps. If you have a gap in the music, you have a silence, for instance. And if you're puffed up, you're maybe a bit smug, you're feeling maybe a bit too pleased with yourself. Something replaced by applesauce in vegan recipes. Eggs, is that the case? Oh, replaced by applesauce. Yes, I was thinking the other way around. Yes, you might replace eggs with applesauce in vegan recipes. I have heard of that being done. I've never done it myself, but I have heard of that happening. Okay, some records informally are EPs. So this is extended play records. They're vinyl records that are smaller than a full length LP. So these might be singles or something like that. Okay, MacGyvering. So MacGyver was the old television character who sort of jury-rigged, who sort of assembled gadgets in order to get himself out of difficult situations. I don't even know that I maybe have seen one episode of MacGyver. Looks a bit strange, doesn't it, with this G and P? Maybe is this something even other than dog? Slide, sure, it can't be. It's got to be trickster. Slide, I don't know what else it could be with that DO. And these seem pretty solid at this point. So maybe, oh no, this isn't gaps. It's not gaps in the music, it's in silences. You're silencing someone, you're gagging them. Silences, gags, right, okay. Okay, you're preventing someone from speaking. So it's the thing I said, it's jury rigging. So to assemble something from, basically an ersatz creation made from available materials. Okay. Stepping away from screens is digital cleanse or something like that. I've heard people refer to that. Digital detox. That's what I have heard that. Yes. Not using electronic devices for a while, which does sound like not a bad idea. Although I've committed myself to doing so every day in the first thing in the morning on video. The ultimate form of free speech to Dennis Leary. This is the kind of quote you could imagine applying to any number of things based on who says it, but Dennis Leary was a comedian. I believe he's no longer with us. But he's a comedian, so you could imagine in this case he's applying it to comedy. The ultimate form of free speech. Okay. Sign in front of some bars. Sign in front of some bars. Oh, a clef. Right. We've had a few we've had one musical clue and another that I thought maybe could apply to music but didn't. In this case, it does. So this is a clef, which is the symbol that is at the beginning of a staff of music, bars of music, measures of music, in order to indicate the key the music is to be played in. Okay. Widespread rumors in a portmanteau. I just haven't a clue about that. Ananda Mahadol became its king. at the age of 9 while living in Switzerland, Siam, I would think. So does that help with this at all? Not really, I doubt. Post-crisis baseline. New normal. That'll be it. It's a phrase that everybody was saying quite a lot for a while there. Okay, new normal. There we go. So blank belt. Sumo belt? Doesn't really sound like a familiar phrase. Limo belt? I'm sure this will end up being very obvious in retrospect once it's actually in. Oh, ammo belt. A belt of ammunition. That's what it is. Okay, you see in action movies and people have those big belts that they wear full of bullets. Okay, thanks a lot. In intentionally butchered French. That is strange. Intentionally butchered French. Thanks a lot. Well, merci beaucoup would be thanks a lot, essentially, in French. So, is that how we're starting it? Oh, this looks like widespread rumors in a portmanteau. Something epidemic or pandemic would be widespread. Widespread rumors. I think there probably is a D here for the portmanteau. And a kerfuffle is an ado, a big commotion. So they often come in shoe boxes. Oh, dioramas. Right. They often come in shoe. I guess they're often sort of made in shoe boxes, I guess is how I would maybe phrase that, but it works. So yeah, you create a little scene, a little diorama inside of a shoebox. Okay, great. Slight faults to a rater. Dings, if you're rating something, a performance or something, and you found some slight faults, you maybe ding the performance in terms of your rating. Widespread rumors in a portmanteau. Infodemic, information pandemic or information epidemic, something like that. Infodemic. I don't think I've heard that phrase, but you can sort of imagine what it means, or sort of a surfeit of, this is sort of we're kind of living through this all the time. There's just so much information that it does get more difficult to sort of keep it all straight. Okay, reluctant to join. If you're reluctant to join, ? So does it mean join as in joinery, like carpentry? I'm trying to think what the pun is here. Reluctant to join. I don't know. I'm not quite seeing it. What about this? Words after God or man. God of war, man of war. There we go. That's it. Okay, family nickname. Don't know. Streaked. Stripy. If you have maybe you have a shirt that's streaked, it has streaks of colors. It's a stripy shirt. Not 100% certain that's right, but let's just try it and see. Reluctant to join. Inert? What would that mean, to join? Reluctant to join. Inert. Does that mean if you're sort of reluctant to join in, people are going to, I don't know, they're saying, we're going out to the pub, are you with us? And you're sort of, you're inert, you're just sitting on the couch and you can't ever, because we often think of inertia as dealing with movement, but it's equally true if you're still, and we say inert because someone's kind of just sitting around. So maybe that's what it is. I don't quite think that, I'm not satisfied with my explanation, but I think it must be the word because I just can't think of what else would go here. There must be a better way of explaining why this is the answer. Sorry about that, but I think it probably is the answer. Family nickname, Gran, as in a grandmother, granny. Okay, and then blank Coleman, 8-time Mr. Olympia. Ronnie Coleman, I guess? Don't think I know who this is, but must be an 8-time Mr. Olympia winner. Okay, died down. If something died down, it ebbed, as in ebbed and flowed. So the tide ebbed, it pulled back, it died down. And then here we have a lunchbox option informally, which is PBJ, peanut butter and jelly. Oh, I see what this is going to be. Merci beaucoup. It's going to be mercy buckets, I think. Is that what it is? It's sort of a complete, if you had sort of a vague memory of how to say thanks a lot in French and you weren't very conversant in French, it might come to mind as mercy buckets. I'm sure that has been phrased in that way before. Okay, I wonder if it's been in the crossword before, though. This is sometimes I come across a sort of very odd answer, and I wonder, has this ever been in the crossword? In fact, I'd wonder about that both with respect to mercy buckets and infodemic. I'd be curious if either of those has previously appeared. Maybe infodemic has. Anyway, maybe they both have. Mathematical subgroup, a something set, maybe. A set is a kind of a group of numbers. Coset. I don't specifically know that phrase, but I sort of suspect it's the answer. Let's just try it and see. Concupiscent one. This will be Eros. This is incredibly. I guess it's a Saturday, but yeah, this would be I would say probably a fairly uncommon way to refer to concupiscent, sort of lustful, that sort of thing. So Eros, the god of love, who I think actually strangely was in the crossword yesterday. And I assume that the cupiscent, the sort of cupiscence or the cupid part of concupiscent is the same root as Cupid in Latin, presumably for love or something like that. I don't know I don't know Latin, but I would assume that that's a shared etymology. Okay, appliance giant founded in England in 1991, Dyson. I think James Dyson, I think. The vacuum tycoon. All right, possible response to did you find it? Possible response to did you find it? I've always found it funny that here in the UK, Hoover is so commonly used as a phrase for vacuum, which just isn't really the case in the US at all. I mean, I think people probably recognize it, but it's not commonly used particularly. Meanwhile, the UK has produced probably the most famous modern producer of vacuums, and it isn't that same word. I've always found that a bit funny. Anyway, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a meaningless observation. Possible response to did you find it? Something so far, not so far. Look, so I don't know what this is. Sorry. Actor Fitch of This Is Us. Okay, I think this is a TV show from a few years ago, which I've never seen. Fitch Nolan, is that a person? I don't know. Nellie Fitch could be as well. I don't know. Mortgage deal for sure. Oh, it's neither of these, I think, because a mortgage deal would be a refinance. You're going to refinance your home loan, your mortgage. So, Nils Fitch? I don't know. Niles Fitch, maybe. That sounds like the most plausible thing with that I there. Let's look at this. Can't be retail. Yeah, it is right. Well, at least the E is correct because REI is a U.S.-based cooperative outdoor goods retailer. So can't be. Okay, so Niles is probably correct. Blank Peninsula, Horn of Africa. What is the Horn of Africa? What is the name of it? How can I not think of this immediately? Oh, that feels embarrassing. Okay, well, what about this? Parts of LEDs, diodes. Somali Peninsula, SO, Somali Peninsula. That, I wish I would have thought of that immediately, but I did not. Okay. Well, this with the one letter is helpful. Mont Saint-Michel Abbey site in France. Which I guess is straightforwardly Mount St. Michael. The origin of wisdom, per René Descartes. Sorry about that noise. If that's worse now than it was before, it does sound louder here now. I think actually, speaking of Hoovers, I think there is some vacuuming going on next door now. Anyway, the origin of wisdom, per René Descartes. I am not sure offhand. Sorry about that. This is another one I wish I could just immediately get. Okay, well, this is follow, ensue. The events followed, the events ensued. Asparagus essentially stems. Asparagus stems. I assume that's the correct answer. They are felt every April. They are felt every April. Boy, that is getting louder. They're felt every April. Does it mean they're made out of felt? Is it a pun? I'm not sure. Okay. What about this? Underlying reason, root cause would be the underlying reason of something. And Beyonce's Dangerously in Love or John Lennon's Imagine. An album, solo album. There we go. That's what it is. Great. So I guess that's referring in this case to Beyonce post TLC or John Lennon post the Beatles. Okay, the origin of wisdom. Oh, doubt. The origin of wisdom is doubt. Oh, that, yeah, I would strongly agree with that. Okay, and then they are felt every April. Tax something. April 15th, I think, is the federal tax deadline in the United States. So it's going to be tax something. Tax bites? Is that a thing you'd say? I don't think so. Tax rates? Somali is certainly correct. I think all of these are right. Tax. Would you say tax bites as in that really bit? It seems odd to me. Maybe tax bites is a phrase and I just don't happen to be familiar with it. One in line at an airport. Oh no, it is that, strangely. Okay. Because one in line at an airport would be a cab, a taxi. Okay, you could have you have a line of cabs, taxis waiting to pick people up. Okay. Actress Kirk or Kirka of Mozart in the Jungle. I know this is a TV show from a few years ago as well, which I've also not seen. And I don't know this person's name. Could be Zola, could be Lola. Don't know which. Eject, to boot somebody out of a position, you could eject them, boot them out. In working order, if something's working order, it's usable. Okay, it was Lola, so at least I did think of the possibility, but there we go. Okay, rabbit blank rabbit ears. It's a common phrase used to mean, I guess, either literally a rabbit's ears or old television antennae, or I guess holding your fingers up behind someone's head. Okay, as yet. To date. If something hasn't happened as yet, it has not happened to date. Okay, word with escape or escalator. Escape plan, no. Escalator, not sure. Possible response to did you find it? Now there's hammering going as well. I swear this is it's like a gag that someone does this when I start recording these videos, and then they ratchet it up for comedic effect. Anyway, strikes out slangily. I don't know. See ya. Something later. No. Branch of causality that comes from the Greek for study of the end. Teleology. It does fit. I'm pretty sure that's right. Like teleological, I'm sure that's right. Branch of causality that comes from the Greek for study of the end. Yeah, telos or something like that for the end. What's a short word I can use to confirm that? I guess up here. Meet. We're going to meet, we're going to sit, as in the court will meet, the court will sit. I don't quite think that's right. What about this one? Berkeley, familiarly. Oh, well, I should know this because I went to this university, the University of California at Berkeley, which is also Cal because it was the original University of California. It was the first such school, so it was known as Cal for California. Okay, see ya. Ciao. Bye. Goodbye. Oops. Flattens in a way. If you flatten clothing, say, you iron it. So I think that's correct. Saul Bellows, The Adventures of Blank March. I've never read this, but I think it's Aggie or Augie. I don't actually think I've ever read any Saul Bellow, now that I think about it. What about this one? Oh, escape clause or escalator. Never mind. Is escalator clause a word? Probably. Or a phrase, I should say. Escape clause it fits so well that I'm sure escalator clause is a word. I don't actually know the phrase. I keep saying word. I don't know the phrase, but It sounds plausible. No luck. Oh, no luck. So, yeah, that is the answer here. Possible response to did you find it? No luck so far. I didn't find it yet. Okay, teleology is looking correct. Saul Bellows the adventurer. Okay, it could still be either possibility. Shoot down to nix something would be to shoot it down, to say, nah, I don't like that idea. Gem used in intaglio. Intaglio or intaglio? Intaglio, probably. Not actually sure. This must be some sort of oh, it must be a craft. It must be some kind of craft that involves inlay or something like that. I'll have to look it up. I don't know it off the top of my head, but onyx is clearly the answer. Okay, see ya. No, it's not gotta run. Maybe no luck so far is wrong, because this really looks like I gotta run. Augie, so, yeah, Saul Bellows, The Adventures of Augie March, great. Remington, yeah, this looks right. Okay. Remington of 1980s TV. This was, what's his name? Pierce Brosnan. And someone told me about this in a recent comment because it was in a puzzle a few weeks ago. And I think I said, oh, I think he's some sort of spy or something. But what was he? Is he a private detective, maybe? I think he was a private detective. Anyway, I've never actually seen it, but there we have it. It's clearly the answer. Like many defendants in court, oh, they're being sued. And if something gets less green, say, it ages. So fruit, might be green when it's when it's not very ripe, it's very unripe. And that goes away as it ages. Strikes out slangily. Oh. This is no luck so far. Sorry, why did I get rid of that? I'm not sure what I did there. I think I completely misread what I wrote or something. I thought it needed to go away in order to make room for I gotta run, but it obviously doesn't. It fits perfectly fine. Sorry, I'm not sure what I was doing there. Strikes out slangily. Pans. If a review that's a pan is negative, but the reviewer does the panning, whereas the striking out would be done by the person who had made the thing. So I'm not really sure that works. Meat. Pit doesn't sound good for that either. Meat. Sit. Sands. Sands strikes out. No. Oh boy. The very last cell of the puzzle, and I don't really know what it is. Meat. What else would work? Lit. Meat. Lit. No. Wit. No. This is ridiculous. Fit. I guess you could say, in the sense of two pieces meeting one another, they fit into each other. Hit. Will meet will hit it off. At least, then I thought hands isn't really anything for strikes out slangily. At least fans is a word. Strike. Oh, maybe that is what that is. I don't know this phrase, but you could imagine in baseball or something, if you swing the bat and you miss the ball, you've sort of fanned. All you've done is kind of fan the air. Okay, I think that's probably it. Let's try it. It is. Okay, well, there we go. That was an off and on solve. It's funny. It probably was a bit trickier than yesterday's in total, but it was more a bit sort of somewhat challenging throughout the whole grid for me, I suppose. Whereas yesterday's, I just sailed through one half and the other half was very difficult. I don't think I was ever quite as stuck as I felt in that second half of yesterday's solve, but it was just a bit of a challenge throughout. And it probably took me longer in total to solve, so I don't remember, but that's my suspicion. Anyway, there we go. That was our Saturday themeless crossword by John Guzzetta. I would say that was very much a Saturday crossword. This is sort of what I would expect from a Saturday crossword. Not as punny and jokey as a Friday, but still a fair amount of misdirection and difficulty, and some tricky vocabulary. Teleology. What else did we have? We had at least one other. What else did we have that was? I feel there were a few slightly tricky words in here. And now I can't remember where they were. Oh no, it wasn't the answer that was tricky. It was eros. It was concupiscent, which is not a word that would be in, I think, most of our daily vocabulary, certainly not mine. And then we just had some funny things like infodemic and mercy buckets. Required a bit of lateral thinking on that one, especially tax bites. I'll have to look that up. I don't know the phrase off the top of my head. You can imagine sort of what it might mean. It's like the sting of having to suddenly pay tax in one go rather than it being taken out of your paycheck monthly, I suppose. Um, anyway, that's it. That was the puzzle. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how you fared with this one. I'm always curious. And I'll be back tomorrow for the much longer, larger Sunday puzzle. So join me for that. We will have a theme there, of course, and a title. So join me for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Saturday. Take care.